Okay, so we're gonna go through 3 points on how to recognize the INTJ. And the first point is identify who is quiet and mysterious at work. And what I mean by that is think of your workplace, right? And think of somebody who you don't know very well, but you think they're a little bit of an a-hole. And facts are facts. Not saying they are, but it's possible that they're an INTJ. INTJs are usually not the first ones to talk. They're not the first ones to come to just say, hey, look at me and hear me talk. They sort of, they're quiet, they're mysterious, they sort of keep to themselves. But when they do speak, it's extremely surgical. It's very precise and almost always has some sort of fidelity and good point to make, right? And it's like all of a sudden you're talking about just this simple step at work that you wanted to do, and now you're having an entire conversation about the entire purchasing process when we were just talking about buying this one thing, right? Where you're talking about, like, you know, your one single favorite food, and then 5 minutes later you're talking about the entire anthropological diet spanning many generations, right? Because the INTJ is always looking for that deeper, meaningful conversation, and so if they're not engaged in that, you don't hear from them at all. But then when you do engage them and you like to do that, then all of a sudden the conversation really evolves. So think of those folks that are quiet and mysterious that you don't know, and there's a chance, small chance, only 1.8%, but there's a chance they're an INTJ. All right, hey, let's keep this going to point number 2. Point number 2, one of the most driven people by purpose. So think of folks at work that are idealistic. There's a lot of purpose to what they do. They do not sort of engage in any sort of like conversations that they deem as meaningless. Okay, now I'm not saying the conversation is meaningless, and we'll get into that in part 2 and 3 about how INTJs need to behave at work. But to them, the conversation might seem meaningless, right? They're only going to get involved in conversations that have deep purpose to what it is that they believe in. They can't even spell like give up or some sort of like they're not good at casual conversations. That's why everything evolves into something bigger. Everything's like abstracted, and it's like, dude, this dude's always like, you know, has this habit or that habit, and it's extremely effective, and I don't hear from them a lot, but when I do hear from them, like, I always want to hear more from them, and there's always like this bigger, deeper meaning behind things. And so you definitely want to look for somebody that is sort of very, very purpose driven at work. So you're looking for somebody that's quiet and mysterious, and somebody that is purpose driven. Okay, let's move right on to point number 3. Okay, point number 3, find the misunderstood idealist. Okay, what I mean by that is, say you're in a meeting somewhere in casual conversation, and this person is talking about that, you know, greater meaning of life, or of the real systematic failures of maybe what's going on in the workplace, or maybe like this grandiose idea that, you know, seems sort of far-fetched and sort of really innovative oftentimes, but that person's also misunderstood, right? And when they speak, it's like, man, you know, like, I kind of like having this person in the room, but then I kind of don't, because they kind of annoy me, because all they do is just keep talking about these idealistic things, and they're oftentimes misunderstood, but you kind of want to hear from them, right? It's like the struggle. So a lot of times that's indicative of an INTJ as well. So in short, talking about how to identify an INTJ in this first video. There's going to be 2 more coming, where we're going to dive into how to sort of walk through that on both sides, whether you're an INTJ or not. That's what's coming up in these next 2 parts. All right, guys, thanks for watching part 1 of 3. I hope you got something out of it. Stay tuned for the other 2 coming right up. Again, this was just an introduction to how to possibly identify 1.8% of the population. Once you sort of know, once you have an idea where you're at, these next 2 are going to get down and start, you know, breaking down different steps that these 2 groups of people can do to successfully interact. You're going to like it. It's going to be good. Don't forget to comment below if you want to. I'll certainly interact with you if you choose to. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with anybody you think the content is appropriate for. And I will see you on the next video.